Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Top 4.
Top four.
Top four. An homage to my favorite number and to 4 things we love in some genre or other. And this week we're going way back in the Wayback Machine. Now, kids, there was a time where video games were 8-bit. Is that right? The Atari was 8-bit at the time?
I think so.
Yeah, 8-bit. And they were basically pixelated blocks on screen that kind of looked like something or other.
You had to
And
squint.
And you squint.
Televisions were awful back then too, so it helped.
Right.
Sure.
So, being very old people, we're going to be talking about the 4 best video games we remember on the old Atari 2600.
Yeah.
Is that right? That was the original, right?
Yep.
Yeah, just making sure I got my numbers right. I thought that was right. I played the shit out of games on the Atari. How many? Did everyone have one?
Yeah.
So technically, my brother had one, and I'm gonna say why.
Why?
So my father is Jewish, but my mother is not. We weren't being raised Jewish. But when my brother turned 13, all of our Jewish relatives, as soon as he was being bar mitzvahed, then they just weren't invited. So they sent my brother a shitload of cash, and he bought an Atari 2600 and a dirt bike. And then right after that happened, my dad called all of our relatives and told them we weren't being raised Jewish and they didn't need to send us anything. Thanks for fucking me out of all that money, Dad. Jesus, couldn't you just wait till I turned 13?
You got screwed out of dirt bike money?
Dirt bike money.
Like, the 2600 was expensive, but not dirt bike expensive.
Dirt bike and a 2600 my brother bought with his bar mitzvah money.
That is quite
the not bar mitzvah money. I was so pissed.
I would have converted for a dirt bike when I was a kid.
But anyway.
Hey, little hat, read the Torah? Fine. Yeah. We're getting off subject.
A little bit.
Me and Jay played a ton of the games. He had one, then I got one later. Anyone want to go first? Because I know what my favorite one was.
Yeah, Tom.
I'm right
it was kind of dumb. Okay, Gunslinger.
Oh, I don't remember Gunslinger.
Gunslinger, you just had these 2 gunslingers, and they can only go up and down a little bit. And sometimes there was a cactus or a barrel to hide behind, and you tried to shoot each other. It was very much like the tank game where you like shoot each other right in the maze.
Yeah,
except they were big and it was hard, and sometimes you could shoot each other's hats off, and it was kind of fun. But for some reason, I really liked that game. And there was another game that came out called Cattle Rustler, where you had a little horse and you threw out a lasso and you capture these pixelated horses. And those were my 2 favorite games: the stupid Cattle Rustler game and the Gunslinger game. They weren't great. They were very chunky, very slow, minimal audio, just a burp, 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 beep, psh. But still, I love the hell out of that game.
Okay. I don't remember Gunslinger.
Gunslinger, look it up.
Yeah.
Who's next?
I teeter. It's tough. Okay, I gotta go for it. Yar's Revenge.
That's a good one.
And I don't know what it was about being a space dragonfly and just shooting at that shield until you wore it away. And I loved that game. Honestly, I can barely remember actually how to play it, but in my head, like, man, I put a lot of time into Yar's Revenge.
It was a tough game too. It was difficult. I mean, to get far in it, you really had to put in some hours. And there's no saves, kids. Kids, with your saves and your checkpoints and your shit.
There was none of that.
None of that.
So to give you guys an idea of how much an Atari 2600 cost in 1977, it was about $189.
In today's money?
In today's money, that's about $800.
Okay, so PS5.
That's about a week's wages.
So it hasn't really changed.
Yeah.
You want a PS5 with 2 controllers and a game? Yeah, $800.
Yeah, about a week's
it
wages.
It did come with a game and 2 controllers.
Yeah.
Actually, the most minimalistic but great controllers of all time. Do you remember the little suction cuppy stick?
Oh yeah.
It was just a joystick. Now, a joystick is just a stick, kids, and one button. One button. That button had to do a lot of work.
A lot of work.
It also came with paddles.
Yeah,
That's true. Mine didn't come with paddles.
Yeah,
Mine only came with stick.
paddles.
Yeah, we had to buy
Mine
the
came with
paddles.
Sticks, yeah.
Yeah, you got the good version. You got the deluxe. If you got the paddles.
But when we did
Richie
buy the
Rich.
paddles, it came with the game Kaboom.
Oh yeah, Kaboom was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Little circus game with a little teeter-totter and trying to keep your
Bombs.
clown from exploding for some reason.
Yeah.
Explaining games to kids today makes us sound like we were mentally challenged. You're a little burger chef and you're running around and you're trying to make burgers, but there's something trying to kill you. What? I don't remember. I think it was a pickle. Yeah.
Mike, what's your game?
for me, it was Space Invaders.
Really, it's a classic.
Space Invaders
Yeah,
was
straight
great.
Straight
Yeah.
up hard classic, yeah.
Yeah, just the worst alien invasion ever. As they slowly come down and you pick them off as fast as you can.
Should we swarm and attack the humans? No, fuck them. They're going to see it coming.
They'll never figure out our strategy.
Or
Still
our
more
pattern.
probable than the aliens from Signs.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, way more probable.
Just
Meanwhile,
I have 2 Space Invader t-shirts.
So you're the guy. I love Space Invaders too. I love shooting through. My strategy was always to shoot all the way through one of the bunkers and use that to pick them off.
I always really just hoped that at some point I would get so good at the game that an alien race would come down and say, "You need to work for us."
Yeah.
Are you the last Starfighter, Mikey?
I was
Wow,
always
that was
hoping for that to happen. It never did. Probably because
We were all hoping to be the last Starfighter, Mike.
everyone.
Everyone. Maybe not LT. He'd have to check out the paperwork. Hold on.
Not my favorite game, but Pitfall was the first game I ever turned over. Like I played it until the score just rolled over to 0.
So the game I did that on was Defender.
Oh, I love Defender.
Oh, I love Defender.
Yeah.
And
Actually, I like Empire Strikes Back, which was Defender, but they put AT-ATs in the game.
True.
It was the same exact game. The color scheme, and they put a digital AT-AT in there. How's that?
So, but I think probably the game that I played the most on the Atari 2600 was Pac-Man.
My mom loved Pac-Man. She played that for hours and hours and hours on our kitchen table.
Pac-Man was the first game I flipped over.
Oh.
I never flipped over.
There's a pattern. After you go past level 5, if you did the same pattern over and over again, you could get all of it and never die. And I learned the pattern, and I would sit there for hours just doing the same pattern over and over again. And it never occurred to me to be boring.
Way to harness the awesome power of your OCD, Mike.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what I did with Defender.
Defender,
I just keep doing this over and over again, and I just want to see what happens when the score changes.
I didn't think Defender had a pattern. It might have. I mean, if you found one, good on you. But I always found Defender kind of tough.
Most 8-bit games had a pattern, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, these were very simple games. But I was a
They were
very
not-
simple
yeah.
kid. I was.
And Adventure was the first game that I found an Easter egg in.
That's the game I thought you were going to pick. I had my money that you were going
That was my close second. Yar's Revenge and Adventure were by far. As soon as I found out that I could make the dragon swallow a key, kill him with a sword, and carry the dragon, and carry 3 things at once, I was like,
mind blown.
mind blown. Inventory slots 3.
3
That's
inventory slots. Who
amazing.
could possibly use 3
'Cause you could
inventory slots?
Carry the dragon. You could still kill the bat carrying the dragon with the sword sticking out too.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
And
then there's the
that is
secret
some
maze.
metagaming.
And in the secret maze, you can find the developer's name. First Easter egg I ever know of. I don't know if it's the first, but it was certainly the first I ever found.
And I would
Amazing.
say honorable mention would be Spy Hunter.
Spy Hunter was terrific, but that was never on the 26.
Oh yes, it was.
Was it?
I had Spy
was.
Hunter on the Commodore 64. I don't think I ever played it on 2600.
No, I think
It came
was on
with
the
a
next one.
special. It came with a little special tray that would hold the second joystick so that you could use the button from that joystick also. So it came with a special tray that had a little Velcro thing to put the second joystick so that you'd have both joysticks, one basically next to the other, so that you could use the button from the other joystick to control some of the other
I won't
functions
say
of the
you're
car.
crazy. I'll just say I'm going to look that up because that sounds awesome.
So, Brian's dad, as we've talked about before for Axis and Allies, got access because he worked for Milton Bradley, got access to different games. Brian had a flight simulator for the Atari 2600.
Wow.
He had like a wheel that you could use to fly in this. It was quite amazing. I think the game was called Barnstormer or something like that.
Oh, I remember barnstorming.
I kind of remember barnstorming games, yeah, but not for the 26 though. But like you said, it was probably a one-off.
Yeah,
No, Barnstormer was a game for the 2600.
Yeah, but that one wasn't a simulator so much as you looped through barns and did loop-de-loops, right? Like you did stunts.
No,
I know you had to like go down and through the barn.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that one. I remember a different one where you just kind of did like tricks.
You're thinking of like a side scroller.
Yeah, right? I'm thinking of a side scroller.
Yeah, no,
this was a straight on
first person.
You got to fly down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
that.
Cool. And you said you had it on the 2600 because you're a friend, but was it widespread?
I don't know. Brian is the only person I knew who had the game.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anybody else who had the game, so maybe, I don't know.
So a couple of years ago, just as a quick aside, I gave a lecture for Lainey at one of her coding camps on the history of video games. And I had the $20 challenge. These were all 8 to 12-year-olds, about 50 of them. And I said, whoever can name every single one of these gaming systems is going to get this $20. And I went back slowly through history. I got him. I didn't get anyone past Intellivision. No one could name the Intellivision.
Intellivision was my absolute favorite. That was the only console I ever owned, not my brother's. I had an Intellivision, and Intellivision.
The little stupid thing that you could slip in there on the number pad.
It had a number pad and a wheel, which is really
Genius.
the precursor for every modern controller because of the wheel. Yeah.
That little slidey thing for the number pad that lets you do like bombs or whatever. Genius. Yeah. That was a good design. But I never really got a handle on the wheel things. I always thought you had to turn it. I was not bright. I was not a bright kid. I played it at Ray Mastriani's house. That's the only guy I knew at the time who had one.
Baby Ray.
Baby Ray. All right, I think that'll do it for top 4, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. This is our YouTube one, right?
Yeah.
Sure. How do we look? Everybody looking good?
I don't know. Yeah. Is my headset okay?
I whitened my teeth for this. It's still terrible, but I did it.
Nice.
If you're wondering why Josh and I have Speedball behind our heads, it's because on our regular podcast, we do have a podcast. Anywhere you get your podcast, just look for the Longbox guys. We are doing the sad history of Marvel Comics Speedball this week. So
yeah, tragic hero personified.
Yeah. And it's not because he got addicted to drugs, which is shocking.
Yeah, I think with the name
we would have preferred a character named Speedball just to get addicted to drugs. His life would have been so much better if it was just drugs.
Yeah.
He killed a bunch of kids.
He didn't.
Well.
But listen to the podcast.
Listen to the podcast.
Ease up, Tom. I get you.
Yeah.
listen to the podcast. And I do want to thank you. You can also go to our Patreon page, which is Patreon the Longbox guys. All the money for that does go to the Elizabeth Peabody House, which fed how many families this month, this week, Tommy?
246 families last week.
And how much food did we move today?
7,500 pounds.
We should be in better shape. We should be.
We should.
All right, that'll do it for top 4. Thanks again, YouTube, and hit like, hit subscribe, pull the lever, push the button. I don't know what to do. I'm old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.